Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is that moment of truth. I have to see it. You know me, I have to see it. Let me make sure we're awake. Okay, YouTube, you are awake. Good morning, YouTube /afternoon/ you get the drill. Let's just make sure Rockfin is awake and then we can officially begin. All right, Rockfin is awake. That was quick. And Twitter, of course, is awake too. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good evening, good tomorrow. If you're in a future time zone, that's exciting. Good to see everybody. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. And of course, everyone listening to the podcast later. Hope your chores are going great. Hope those errands, you're crushing it. It's good to see everybody. This is the headline show where we go through some of the news of the week. And we got an interesting batch of stories today. First and foremost, helping me get through it all is, you know her. She's awesome. She is a comedian and the host of Biting Commentary. Please welcome back to the show, Lauren Ashcraft. Lauren, what is up?
Hey, great to see you too. Great to be here.
Good to see you. We have a good news story. We have a story where it's like, oh, this is good news. And we have a holy shit, this is a policy they might push through story. We have a lot of those here. We got one of them today. We have one of those. And then we have a kind of funny story. At least I think it's kind of funny. And I actually saw it from you. So yeah. Well, and we're gonna go in that order. We're gonna start with a little bit of good news. Crazy thought, I know. But yeah, let's just go right to it. And Lauren, this takes us to your state, to New York. It does not
Oh,
take us to New York City, though. It takes us to Buffalo. But nonetheless, let's go. Have you been to Buffalo?
I have. I've driven through it on the way to Canada, and I think I got a sandwich there.
That's most people's story. I've
Yep.
driven through it on the way to Canada.
Yeah.
That's their official city slogan. I don't know if you knew that, but that's
Yeah.
actually their official.
Buffalo on the way to Canada. Get
On
a
the way to
sandwich.
Canada. I have a friend who spent some time in Buffalo. She was living there, and she met her now husband here, there, and they actually live in Southern California now, but they lived in
Oh.
Buffalo for a while. So I would occasionally go there, like I was there for their wedding and stuff like that. And I remember we were so hungover the next morning, but we rallied to make the drive to Niagara Falls to
Oh,
see
it's not
Niagara.
that far.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's I think it was under an hour, and yeah, we went to Niagara Falls, and I wish we would have had enough rally to check out Toronto for a hot minute, but we weren't that ambitious. But what are
Yeah.
you gonna do? All right, so let's go to Buffalo for some neat news. Check this out. This is from More Perfect Union. Breaking. This was from yesterday. Starbucks workers just won another union election in Buffalo, 8-7. The Walden Avenue store becomes the fourth unionized Starbucks in the country, overcoming 6 months of fierce union busting. We've been covering that on the show. They were firing pro union workers, making up excuses to fire pro union workers. They even did that in Buffalo, but the vote passed anyway. Starbucks 8-7. Now, the NLRB was counting votes from two more Buffalo stores, and they should be reporting on that momentarily. Well, let's scroll in real time, shall we? Next tweet here. The union's win is at the Walden Avenue. Breaking. Starbucks workers just won again in Buffalo, voting 15-12 to unionize at the Sheridan and Bailey location. Whoa! 2 for 2 yesterday. This is the second big win for the Starbucks Workers United today. One more store left to count. There are now 5 unionized Starbucks in the country. Lauren, what do you think is going to happen? There's 2 going. As Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 is not bad. What do you think is going to happen for the third one?
I mean, I hope that all the Starbucks across the entire country head in this direction. My husband is fist pumping across the room.
Nice.
So we're big union supporters here. This is how it's done. And I think I said, like, on the last episode I was on with you, the people who fight for these battles are the real heroes of the United States. No member of Congress is getting paid to do this work or whatever. No politician is a hero. They're just doing their jobs. But these people are going above and beyond their work and their responsibilities to make life better for all their coworkers and future workers in the same company. So they're setting an awesome example. If you work at Starbucks, I am sending you all the best wishes that you can unionize your local Starbucks as well.
Absolutely. And I got some good news for you, Lauren Ashcraft. Breaking. This is again from yesterday, but it's a clean sweep. Starbucks
Yeah.
workers at the Depew store in Buffalo. I'm guessing that's how you say it. Depew. Depew. What do you think?
I like Depew. It sounds
Depew.
French.
They have voted 15 to 12. There are now 6 unionized Starbucks locations across the country. There are more than
Yes.
120 additional stores where workers will vote on unionization this spring. They
This is
went
great.
3 for 3 in Buffalo, folks. 3 for 3. Boom. How about that? Little bit of good news. Little bit of good news. Now, I want to talk about this question for a little bit. This person asked, what kind of person votes no on this? What do you think, Lauren? What kind of
I
person
actually
does
was
vote no?
I was asking the same question in my head, like, are wait, so were the people voting, are they also Starbucks employees or management? Like regular
Ooh, that's a
employees?
good that I'm not sure who all was involved in the vote, but it was yeah, whatever employees qualified for the vote.
If you're like a barista against unionization, I have a lot of questions.
Mhm.
But if you're management, I have a lot of guesses as to why you don't want your staffers unionized.
Well, I think the managers though at just a given location, they just report to another higher up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean
I
like the
think they should.
management. The
Oh, like the people at the top.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they're not voting in this. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I thought you meant like a shift manager or something like that. I'm like, yeah, no, they're I mean, they're basically just
Yeah.
being, told what to do by someone way more powerful than them. I'd imagine most of them would be pro union too, I would hope. But my answer to that question is people who were scared of losing their jobs because they bought into the fear, and also people who were intimidated, and also
Yeah.
people who and also people, and this is one of the things that we make it out like this is something you shouldn't talk about on the left, but I think it is something we should talk about on the left. They have a bad idea of what unions are all about because of
Yeah.
50 years of defanging and propaganda around unions.
Yeah.
I don't think we should back away from that. I think we should confront it. I think we should confront the fact that, yes, unions have been defanged for 50 years and counting in this country. That means that there's some unions out there that aren't that good, that aren't actually looking out for workers. There's others that are still great. And it's part of our responsibility to foster the good unions, drive out the bad ones, and build new ones that really redefine what it means to have strong unions in this country.
Agreed. I love it. I love it and I hope all of them get unionized and
Yeah.
then we can start, showing that this negative propaganda against unions is not worth really listening to because now these people are going to have higher pay, better benefits, um some better workplace safety. Like this is the kind of stuff that unions fight for.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like sometimes people get a little scared. They're like, well, you don't want to come off as if you're putting unions down. And it's like, that's not putting unions down. If anything, that's the opposite. It's saying,
Yeah.
hey, unions are so good for workers that they've been trying to dismantle them for 50 years and counting to make sure workers don't have this kind of power again. Because that's what a union really does. That's what a union can do. So
Yep.
yeah, you should be for it and you should foster it. So check this out. You can even see an interactive map. We'll go to this in a second. Today, the Starbucks workers stood up to corporate interference. They voted to unionize 3 more stores in Buffalo. That doubles the number of unionized locations, and more are coming. The NLRB has scheduled elections in New York, Massachusetts, Illinois, Virginia, and Pennsylvania, the home state of both you and I. So
Yes.
I'm gonna pull up the union map here, see if it's like one of those. Oh yeah, so it is an interactive thing. Here, let me put it on the screen here. This is kind of interesting. You could see here, check it out.
This is
In that
incredible.
Yeah, look at that. That ain't bad.
Yep.
Huh? That's where a lot of it's kind of around the coast here, but there's some stuff in the middle too. I mean, you
I
see a
love it.
lot kind of around the coast. You see some stuff in Los Angeles, Seattle, of course. They should be everywhere up in Seattle. That's like the birthplace of Starbucks. That's like that's like Howard Schultz's playground. Him and Bill Gates, and it's a weird part of the world. That have you ever been to Seattle?
No, although I would like to go because not far out of Seattle, there's a diner that is the Twin Peaks diner
I've
that
been,
serves. You've been there?
and I got a damn fine cup of coffee.
Oh my gosh, you're living my dream. You're living my dream life,
Oh, it's a
Ron.
decision away.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I gotta go. That's why
You
I'm
gotta
going.
go. Well, I lived in Seattle for a couple years, so yeah, I did.
Oh,
Yeah, it was it's actually funny. That was one of the last things I did before I moved. 'Cause, like, I knew when I was moving away from Seattle, and it was a bittersweet thing, I was excited. I left to go to grad school, so I was excited about that, but also a little sad to leave Seattle, and, yeah, that was, like, on the list of things. I was like, "I gotta do this." I'm not a big Twin Peaks guy, I never really sat down and watched the whole thing, but, it was still,
it's
like, a
weird.
legendary. Yeah, yeah, it's a quirky thing. Um, but, yeah, so you could check out this map, and yeah, it's not bad here. Chicago, you see a lot of it. Buffalo, you see a lot. You see a little bit in New York City area, it looks like. And then you see some
Nice.
stuff in the middle, some stuff in Colorado, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, it looks like,
This is great.
Alabama, Florida. There you go. So it's happening. It's
This is
happening.
great.
And this is going to be more than just, this is really going to redefine what unions mean in the United States. Because when it's like, when you only have 11% of the workforce in unions, it's really easy to propagandize people into voting against their own interests, into
Yep.
being like, hey, the union, it won't help you. The fees will be unreasonable. It's not going to give you higher pay. We might need to fire you. All the propaganda they throw at you. When in reality, like, no, this gives you leverage 100% of the time.
Yes. I saw in the comments like the only union I can think of with negatives is the police union, but I I don't even know if I classify that in the same realm of existence as like these unions.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. Whenever someone's like, "Yeah, everything has its exceptions, even unions," because hey, police have a union, so it's like, yeah, it's not 100%. There's always bad things in everything or whatever. But yeah, I feel you. It's I mean, it's so interesting that Starbucks. 'Cause it was only a couple years ago that everyone was saying, like, Starbucks was among the better of all the corporate, the corporatocracies, basically. Because Starbucks is like, well, they at least give people benefits if you're part-time, and they do this and they do that. Then you kinda saw between the lines, and a lot of those programs, they either dismantled or they skewed in such a way where they weren't really helping out people the same way. They would do a thing where it's like, "Oh, we're gonna give you just enough hours so that you don't qualify for benefits, and we're not going to give you more because we don't want you to qualify for benefits. And oh, well, here's the way the tuition remission actually works if you would want to ever take advantage of it. And it's actually pretty intense. You have to work for us for like, $1 billion in 5 years, or you have to pay it back in its entirety, something ridiculous like that. So, I mean, this has gotta happen all over the country, and like you said, and not just for Starbucks, but for basically every major corporation. I mean, there needs to be
Yep.
strong union representation because it's just gotten to the point, and we're finding out things in the past couple years. We have found out things that I can say I didn't know about. I mean, I didn't know that people working for Kellogg's were working 12-hour days, 6, sometimes 7 days a week, haven't had a vacation in 30 plus years, had declining and declining benefits. I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was bad because I know, especially in right to work states, you can basically do whatever you want to an employee, but I didn't know it was that bad. I
Yeah.
mean, it was, I mean, some of the reports that have come out in the past couple years about these companies have just been appalling beyond comprehension, to where you're just like, "Man, I know the United States is bad. I didn't know it was this bad. Even I didn't
Yeah.
know it was this bad."
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like where we've come. I know that I come on the show and like just talk about this every time, but it's just a matter of like where the money's coming from. And with all of these corporations just filling up the pockets of our politicians, that's how stuff like this, plus declining unionization, that's how stuff like this can keep happening and keep getting worse, is our politicians just look the other way. But like these unionized Starbucks popping up all over the place, this is how we fight back. And we
Yeah.
can't keep relying on politicians to save us. These are people just taking their lives into their own hands and taking a stand locally. And it's setting an example for everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it's always been. I mean, yeah, you can't wait for policy. You have to force policy to happen. That's the way it's always been in the contemporary United States, at least to my knowledge. We didn't get Lucy. How are you?
Lucy,
I have a fun Lucy story later that might connect with something we're going to talk about. We'll
is
see.
is
If it
Lucy unionized?
Lucy has a very, very powerful union. Lucy, she is a union of one, and she pretty much runs this household. Like
Okay.
she just, I mean, she is union strong. She just demands, she makes her demands known by very, very loud meows, and then just these eyes that you can't say no to or ever get angry at, and you're just like, whatever you want. I'm fine with that. You know what I got recently? Uh,
What?
I got I should send this to you because you should totally get one too. I got a laying down desk.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and I got it totally just for my cat. Like, I totally got it for because
Oh,
sometimes, like, she'll just wanna, like, lay down, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna just kinda chill for, like, 5 minutes, and then I gotta work on something," you know? But she'll be like, "Oh, we're taking a nap for as long as I want." "Great." And I'm like, "No, we can't." And then she's just adorable, and I'm like, "I don't wanna get up because this is so nice. You're purring and you're chill." And so I got a
Lucy.
laying down desk. So now everybody wins. Now I can
Oh,
still, I don't like to type laying down, but this desk makes it easier. And yeah, now the cat gets exactly what she wants all the time, which is the way it just has to be.
see what unions can do?
Right. That was a union move on her part. She totally made that move, and I'm like, yeah, laying down desk. I'm getting. I think I just.
Zero-day work week.
That's right. Yes, that's what she has.
Love
All
it.
demands met, a 0-day work week. So let's go to the second story of the day, which is the holy shit, this is a real thing that they're trying to do. Are you kidding me? This can't be. What? No way. That's the story. That first one was the good news. We're gonna end with the funny news, and then the in between is the lead story of the day, which is holy shit. No, are you serious? This is a bill that Amy Klobuchar is among the brains behind, and this bill could potentially just crush independent media completely as we know it, because it really changes the rules for the internet. So we're going to go to this call to action from Fight for the Future digital rights organization. We're going to go to their call to action first and break down what's going on here. Then we're going to go to the bill itself a little bit. Tell Congress, protect our access to credible news. The Journalism Competition and Preservation Act. So, this is the act that's floating around right now that has been getting some heat. This completely fails to preserve journalism or competition, but it's on a fast track through Congress. And this bill, if passed, will break how we use the internet. Okay, why? Because what this bill would actually do, it expands the power of large media outlets like Fox News and CNN by giving them special permission to form a cartel and charge internet users for linking to or sharing news content. Basically, this allows corporate news outlets to collaborate and conspire, frankly, with Facebook or Twitter or whoever else to have the platform work the way they want it to when it comes to sharing news and information. That means they could say something like, not just, oh, people have to pay money to share our links. They could also say, oh, people have to pay money to share a link that isn't ours. So if you want to share an independent podcast or an independent journalist or whatever else, oh, that costs you money. Oh, people can't afford that. Well, I guess this isn't going to get shared then. If passed, the act would represent a major failure to honestly address the needs of local communities that are becoming news deserts. There are powerful alternatives that could help fix the journalism crisis, but JCPA is not it. The JCPA imposes a link tax that forbids internet users from linking to or sharing news articles online unless they pay news entities for the right to share their news stories. Posting a link is not only free today, but fundamental to the internet's core. By making lies free and the truth cost even more to share, the JCPA would limit our access to credible news and information online. Now, the JCPA would do nothing to expand and support local journalism, but it would lead to greater consolidation at the expense of credible independent news. It's likely to hurt local publishers, nonprofit news outlets, and startups that focus on delivering local news to local communities. So, who does this help? The JCPA enables even more consolidation in the media industry, helping only large hedge funds, large broadcasting companies, and corporations that are taking over news outlets and extracting profits instead of investing in journalism. It creates a news media cartel where news giants with the greatest leverage would dominate negotiations, and small outlets with diverse or dissenting voices would not be heard. So that's what this bill does. And you can go to fightforthefuture.org to sign the petition. And we'll share the link to. In fact, I'll drop it in the chats right now, and I'll drop it in the podcast notes later as well, so you can have access to this petition. The URL is a little confusing, so I want to just give it straight. I'm dropping it in all the chats right now. So there are those petitions, and it will be in the podcast notes later for everybody listening to the podcast if you want to sign this petition. Let's go to the bill itself, because wow, this sounds really bad. Is it really that bad? Let's go to it and take a look for ourselves. Because the short answer is yes. I took a peek at the bill. They're not embellishing, they're not sugarcoating. It really is that bad. So here's some of the text. Uh, to provide a temporary safe harbor for publishers of online content to collectively negotiate with dominant online platforms regarding the terms of which content may be distributed. That's pretty cut and dry. There's no ambiguity there. Large media outlets can basically corroborate and cooperate with large social media platforms and get them to do what they want. That's what this bill is trying to do. To provide a temporary safe harbor for publishers of online content, a safe harbor. Lauren, did you want
Oh
to
yeah.
say something? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm just like safe from what? Like
Right.
is some person with 20 followers in Iowa that wants to talk about local news like what?
Well, I think they're trying to make it seem like, oh, this will help news outlets. It'll help news outlets make sure that they're visible on social media and stuff like that. But really, the way they're defining news outlets is like the corporate news outlets. So it's like this will help Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and hurt everybody else. This is
I've
basically just a handout to them.
You
And it's
really
gonna
lost me with, like, Amy Klobuchar.
Amy
Like
Cl- she it's interesting, and we're gonna talk some about the bill itself, but then also bring it back to her because she has been behind some very terrible tech policies as of recent. This is one of two. She's behind this, and she's also behind the Safe Tech Act, which was an act that was meant to hold social media companies accountable and be kind of like a workaround for Section 230. But really what it would have done, what it's ended up doing is it's ended up hurting everything. I mean, it's the reason so many channels have gotten demonetized and stuff like that, because there's this clause in there that says, well, if there's no monetary exchange, then social media companies are fine. So that causes a YouTube or anything like that to be like, okay, anything that we can deem as not the mainstream narrative, we're just gonna cut them off as undesirables, because then we wouldn't be responsible for anything. So she's been behind a handful of really bad ideas that takes a situation and makes it worse.
Mhm.
And personally, I can't help but wonder if it's like, where is her donor money coming from? One, and also, does she honestly just not even know any better? Because some of these people who make these policies, they just treat the internet as if it's like a television station or a radio, and they don't think ahead to what these policies would actually do when you apply it to the internet.
Yeah, and I also love, like, the language of, like, safety,
Yeah.
protection, and I'm like, "So you what kind of additional protection does, like, a Fox News need from the world?" Like
Yeah, you have all the power. just
Yeah.
have all the power. What they need some more protection for this, all the power they have. They
Yeah.
have all the power. Like the cable news networks in this country are so crazy powerful. And what do they do with that power? They can't even send Wolf Blitzer to the right town for a climate summit. They sent
Yep.
him to Edinburgh for a summit that was in Glasgow. They didn't realize there were more than one city in Scotland. But they're owned by some of the most powerful companies in the world. They're still, I mean, they're still prevalent everywhere. Less and less people are tuning in because people are realizing there's choices and people are realizing how hard they're failing the American public. But nonetheless, they still have all the power. They're never going to run out of money. And it's like, well, we got to give them this thing under the guise of helping news.
Oh my gosh. Protecting them because they're victims.
So it basically puts a hold on antitrust stuff. So has meaning given to the term. This includes Section 5 of the FTC Act to the extent the section applies unfair methods of competition and state law that prohibits or penalizes the conduct described and otherwise inconsistent with. So it's basically saying for the good of news, we need to do this. We need to allow them to cooperate with social media. That goes against just fair and open internet practices. But we need to put that on hold so that they can for the good of news. We still
Mm.
don't know how this benefits news because it doesn't, but that's what they're claiming it does. I mean, this is one of those war is peace moments. This is for the sake of media democracy by doing this thing that's the total opposite of media democracy. Now, here's something disturbing. This is how they define news content creator. Any print, broadcast, or digital news organization that has a dedicated professional editorial staff that creates and distributes original news and related content concerning local, national, or international matters of public interest on at least a weekly basis. Gee, a lot of independent outlets might not reach that level. They might not have a professional editorial staff. It might just be one or two people. Here's a disturbing one: is marketed through subscriptions, advertising, or sponsorship. So define subscriptions. What does that mean exactly? That could be interpreted a number of different ways. Advertising, that shouldn't even be legal, but here it's a qualifier. Advertisers shouldn't even be allowed to be on news. You shouldn't have a for-profit advertising model on news and information. But here, not only do we have it, but it's a qualifier. So it's a qualifier that all these ads for pro-war weapons manufacturers that you see on cable news, which by the way, they're not selling something to you. The average person isn't looking to buy a tank. They're buying favorable coverage. That's what they're doing. But that makes you a reputable news outlet. Eh,
Yeah.
It's amazing that something like a bill, the fact that this bill even exists is remarkable beyond comprehension. And again, this is one of those things they're trying to push through beyond closed doors. Not many people are talking about this, just a handful of digital rights organizations, shows like this. And if this gets pushed through, it could just straight up change the internet as we know it.
Yeah.
It would change the way you'd be able to share information online. And they know this. Online content distributor. So, what does this mean? Operates a website or other online service that displays, distributes, or directs users to news articles, works of journalism, or other content on the interest that is generated by third-party news content creators. So that's basically all social media. Has not fewer than that's a billion, right? Monthly active users.
Yeah. 1 billion.
That's 1 billion. Has not fewer than that. So basically, this applies to the big ones. So this basically means Facebook and CNN and Fox News and MSNBC
And
and
TikTok
and
even.
TikTok can just do what they want now.
Mhm.
And they can just do what they want, be like, "Oh, we don't want you sharing our news unless you pay," or, "Hey, we don't want you sharing other news unless you pay, but you can share ours for free so that we're the only people that folks see." However they want to roll it out. They can do whatever they want. And by the way, we're going to put antitrust regulation, we're going to put open internet regulation and protections. We're just going to put that on the back burner because this is very important. Paul just mentioned this in the chat. I think this is an excellent summary. This bill is so vague and platitude, it will allow them unfettered control.
I also am really stuck on like still in a pandemic. There's so much going on. There's so many Americans that are just really hurting more than ever right now. And this is what you're working on.
Right.
Like this
Well,
is how you spend your time is writing this.
And it goes to show you, like this is typical of the way things happen in this country. You have a government that is actively working against you. So this is what they choose to spend their time. Hey, you're distracted, you're busy, you're suffering. We're gonna try to make the internet worse. We're gonna try to make the internet shitty because it's just another medium and we want to take it from you. And this is one of the ways we can do it. By the way, here's another interesting connection. You might be wondering, why are they pushing a policy like this now? Why are they doing an act like this now? Well, because an act like this, flies in the face of net neutrality. This act goes against what net neutrality is, because net neutrality assures a free and open internet. It assures that platforms need to treat the internet traffic like flowing water, no matter who the originator of the content is. That's what net neutrality does. This act goes against net neutrality, and it's saying in the language of the bill, well, this would supersede something like net neutrality for the good of news, which again, still haven't figured out how that works, but
News.
that's the news, quote unquote. But that's what they're saying. And what's going on with net neutrality? Well, as we know, Gigi Sohn just got advanced through the committee. They're going to be scheduling a vote on Gigi Sohn soon. So Gigi Sohn will be confirmed to the FCC if all goes according to plan. And once she's confirmed to the FCC, that means there's going to be a pro net neutrality FCC, which means they'll be able to reinstate net neutrality on a federal level. So this bill is trying to get ahead of that and say, oh, they're going to reinstate net neutrality soon. How can we impose anti net neutrality legislation on the internet anyway? I know, we'll push through this disastrous bill. This was either written by a bunch of people who give money to Amy Klobuchar, or this was written by a bunch of people who honestly don't even know any better, which is just as bad.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's a little bit of both. I have a feeling it's a little bit of, you have people like Amy Klobuchar. Maybe they don't have a good grasp on digital rights issues. Maybe maybe they're not willing to take the time to just ask somebody who knows what they're talking about. That's what Bernie Sanders does. That's what even Ed Markey, he does that. Maybe Amy Klobuchar can't be bothered to do that. Maybe
She's
Joe
busy
Kennedy.
making hot plates.
Wait, when did she make a hot plate?
She shared some recipe for like a casserole or hot plate or whatever it's called
Oh
in the
God.
Midwest.
She is
But
so
yeah, she was really playing up the I'm the Midwestern mom thing, and I'm the Midwestern mom who's really trying to help Fox News and kill all the indie journalists.
dude. She Did you see? So she made that joke about her hair staying still. Did you see that? It was a
Oh
Trump joke,
yeah.
but it was such. I mean, God, there's a billion and five reasons to despise Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong, but her joke was just so okay, Amy, we've heard this joke a billion times, and it never got a laugh, and she never stopped trying it.
Oh,
She always, and you can find collages of her online doing that joke, and it never gets a laugh
everyone's
because
ooh.
she always sounds like she's about to cry when she talks. So it's it's hard to deliver a joke when you always sound like you're about to start crying whenever you talk. But she would try.
I love it.
And it never got a laugh, and she never gave up. All right, let's go back to this. So I sent the link to this petition. Please do sign it. Simply put, the JCPA is the wrong answer, plaster on top of a disastrous threat to the internet itself. Tell Congress to say no to the JCPA and instead support public interest solutions that truly bolster all journalism and don't keep small, local, or civic players out of the conversation. This bill, and we just went to the bill itself, folks, so we're not exaggerating. This bill could destroy indie media as we know it. So if you like shows like this, if you see the importance of independent journalism, boots on the ground journalism, people who are going to places, bringing you stories, people who are curating stories that go under talked about and undercovered, not undercovered like in disguise, you know what I mean? Weird choice of phrasing there. Please sign this petition. This is a disastrous digital rights policy, and this is how this shit gets through. People don't talk about it. People don't know what it actually does. Only a handful of people raise the alarm, and they push it through in the middle of the night. That's how they did the Telecommunications Act in 1996. That's how they started going after net neutrality in the first place. And they're doing the same thing here. And by the way, and they're going after Section 230 too. Is that your door? Is that
I'm so
David Geffen? Tell
sorry.
them I'm busy.
I was not expecting someone to visit me right now.
They said they were like, "Okay, move on to the last story." That's what
Yep.
they were telling us we're done. That's a
Well,
loud doorbell.
it is. It's aggressive, and also you can't really tell that it's being rung from the outside, so a lot of people just, like, keep banging it.
We'll
So
see if
it's
it
like
happens again.
I almost get a heart attack every time, but thankfully it was only once. And
You
please
have a package or
share.
do you actually have, company?
I don't know. My husband went down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out in a few. But,
Maybe you won something.
yeah, I hope so.
This
Like,
is the sweepstakes.
yeah, I was gonna say, what were those things that people used to win in the 50s? Sweepstakes. I
Yeah, I
didn't
don't know.
enter one, but I want to.
Do they still exist? I don't think
I
they
hope
do.
so.
Yeah, I do too, but I don't think they do.
I want, like, the leg lamp from A Christmas Story.
You can get that on a keychain now.
Well, I wanna win it.
You want a legit one.
It's not the same if I just acquire it.
I saw a bottle opener that was that thing. The lamp from Christmas Story bottle opener. It was kinda cool.
That's a great bottle opener idea. This is good.
That is fun.
Um, but speaking of leg lamps, definitely share that petition everywhere because I like every step that we go in this direction. First of all, like the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida is censorship. It's going against free speech. And
Oh,
this is
that
going
thing.
against freedom of the press.
Oh my god, did you freeze as soon as
So
you said that? We lost you for a second. Lauren, are you back? We lost Lauren for a hot second. Oh, man.
did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze, but I think you're back. You're back! Yes.
Oh
Okay,
my gosh,
welcome back.
doorbells and internet issues. I'm so
Yeah, the
sorry.
doorbell the doorbell cut through the internet. You're in New York City. It's a crowded place. So
Yes.
it's like the doorbell's gonna mess up with the I'm gonna send you a picture of my converter after the show.
Thank
It's
you.
gonna change your freaking life. Um, but yeah, you were saying about the Florida bill, which yeah, I've heard about that, and yeah, that's there was also a disgusting bill in Texas not too long ago too.
Yes, yes. But there are all these bills passing that are direct violations of the Constitution. And this one actually might be as well. What is it about? Aren't we supposed to be protecting our press and journalists and allowing them to put the facts out there?
Yeah. Well, they're gonna say that that's what they're doing with this act because yeah, I mean, it's so ridiculous what they're trying. I
Don't
mean,
lie to
it's
me, Amy.
unbelievable. Yeah, no kidding. Instead of working on your recipes, how about you read this actual terrible bill, Amy? Because I have a feeling
Thank
your
you.
donors wrote it. But so Lauren, I got a kick out of this. This is a funny story to end the day. I know you're all probably thinking like, all right, Ron, we got to transition to something light. You just did a story where it's like, hey, the internet might be over. Sleep tight. But here's something kind of funny that I thought was appropriate for the week because this week was International Women's Day. Was this week? Did you do anything for International Women's Day, Lauren?
I ordered food in. I ate it.
Was your husband part of this?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
good.
Yeah, he supported me eating whatever I wanted and always
Did
does
did he
anyway.
get to eat too, or did he just have to watch you? He was
No,
just, "This
he
is
got
your
it.
day."
It is my day. I allowed him to
That's nice.
also get what he wanted. No, I'm just kidding, but no, we I didn't really celebrate. I we're gonna have to take like a whole episode sometime to talk about like the many, many ways in which healthcare is failing women right now because I've felt that in so many ways recently.
Really?
Um, yeah, I'm glad that there's an International Women's Day. I don't feel particularly celebratory, but I know where you're going with the story, and it's my favorite thing. It's my absolute
This
favorite
is
thing.
funny. So, I my wedding anniversary is the same day as International Women's Day,
This is
which
great.
I didn't I mean, we didn't plan it on purpose. I feel like in my case, that might be kind of a douchey thing to do if I did it on purpose, because it's just like, "Well, let's find a way to make it about me too." Huh? This gets to be about me some too, but that's, it happened to fall on that day, and that's just the way it is. Like that's just how it is for me and my wife. So, here's where I have a little Lucy story to interject. this just goes. And this goes by my theory, which I'm going to make an extended video about this. Cats are just as loyal as dogs. They just show it differently. This supports that. So my wife really wanted to have a big seafood feast for our anniversary / International Women's Day. And I was like, sounds great. So I went to the fish market. I got some stuff. And the mussels that we got were bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a big bummer, actually. I mean,
How do you
it's
tell? It just didn't smell great,
we
or
couldn't tell until we really started cooking them, and then,
okay.
yeah, the smell was off, and we each tasted one, and we were like, "These are bad." You can't I mean, it's hard to tell because like, they do have, like, an odor about them just because it's, like, they're fresh and they're still kinda, like, whatever, and you have to, like, debeard them and all that fun stuff. I, uh I went mussel digging once, so I'm an expert now, but, like
Oh.
it was actually really cool. But so the mussels were bad. Here's the thing where Lucy comes in. While I was washing them, and again, it was tough to tell at that moment that they were bad. It was like they smelled a little strong, but we didn't think much of it. It's like, I just got them a couple hours ago. Lucy was going ape shit and she was like meowing at these fucking mussels. She was like meowing at, but she wouldn't go close to them. Like it's almost like she was like not, sometimes seafood, she's curious about that because she's a cat. They like seafood. But
Yeah.
she was like freaking out, trying to like she was not wanting to be around these mussels. I wasn't putting it together. And then she just started kind of acting out in general. She wanted to run out. She wanted to do this. Like she didn't want to come back in. Sometimes I let her run out because she just likes to sniff around a little bit, but she didn't want to come back in. And she was meowing at me like something was up. And I'm like, it's not time to feed you. What are you? And it took me a while, but I realized she knew and she was trying to tell us because cats check your food.
Oh my gosh. She's like Lassie, but
She was
better.
like, what is it, girl? Are the mussels bad?
Row. Yeah. She was talking to you. She's trying to save you from the well
She
in
was.
town.
I mean, she legit because it's like that's something cats do. When cats sniff your food, but they don't really like try to eat it because they know they don't like it or they're just not all that interested. They literally think they're checking it for you. That's what they think they're doing.
Oh.
They think that you're a big baby who might poison yourself at any given moment. So they have to check it to make sure you don't freaking poison yourself.
Oh my
And
gosh.
hey, in this case, I proved Lucy right. In this case, she's like, these are freaking, and we realized it. But yeah, we were both, my wife and I were both like, why is Lucy? And then we realized, like, oh, she was telling us. She was telling us these are bad mussels. So
Next
she
time she
realized it
meows
first.
like that and you're about to eat something,
Just throw it away. Yeah,
yeah.
just right away. Just throw it away.
She's a
She knows.
hero.
She is. She saved the day. She really,
Yeah.
we would have eaten all those otherwise.
You could have had a terrible, terrible, like, 3 days
Uh,
of
no,
consequences.
if we would have eaten those, yeah, because it sucked too, because we combined the scallops and the mussels, so the scallops died because of the mussels, because the mussels were bad, so it contaminated the whole
Ah,
thing. And
they
then
ruined it.
yeah, we were able to salvage some stuff, and the market was cool about it. They refunded me right away, so it was fine. And then we just were like, okay, we were thinking about maybe going out for dessert. Now we're for sure gonna go out for dessert because we still had enough to eat, but not quite as much as we were expecting. So plenty of room for
Oh,
dessert. So
thanks to
yeah,
Lucy,
thanks to
you weren't,
Lucy.
like, keeling over a toilet.
Yeah, I know. I know. She rose the alarm bells some because like my wife was a little like, is it? And then, but yeah, once it started cooking, we knew and we were like, oh, okay. But yeah,
I'm
thank
voting
you,
for
Lucy.
Lucy for president.
Me too.
Lucy.
Yeah, she's been thinking about a run. And I think it's time.
It's time. She has
Said it.
experience. She started a union. I'm
Yep.
in.
Yep. Save people from contaminated seafood. So she's got the hero story. S-
That's her
So
ad.
yeah, exactly. My human is really stupid and was about to eat a bunch of bad mussels, but he didn't, and I take credit.
Yes, I'm in.
So here's the kind of fun International Women's Day thing that I saw from your Twitter. So this is from your Twitter.
Oh.
So this is an account. So everybody tweets on International Women's Day, and a lot of big companies will kind of tweet and they'll, dare I say, virtue signal about whatever. So this account sprouted up on Twitter called the Pay Gap app, and they retweeted everybody who tweeted about International Women's Day, and they tweeted what the pay gap is. That's hilarious.
I love it. I love it. And some of them are like 40% different. In which case, like the only thing that's happening on their accounts is trolling, which is excellent.
So we'll read some of them. All right. So Bard College, Hugh Bard College tweeted, in this organization, women's median hourly pay is 14.6% lower than men's. Let's see. Earlier today, MPs held a blackout. Okay. So in this organization, women's median hourly pay is 0.9% lower than men's. All right. This is Royal Hospital School. In
That's
this
terrible.
organization, women's median hourly pay is 41.7% lower than men's. Wow. Wigan Council. In this organization, women's median hourly pay is 12.5% higher than men's.
Nice.
That's good. In this
Nice.
organization, women's median hourly pay is 10% higher than men's. And this is YPO. Let's see here. In this organization, women's median hourly pay is 32% lower than men's.
Oh my gosh.
Refuge. Oh, and by the way, a lot of these companies where the wage is higher for women, a lot of it might be because there are just more women in leadership roles. It's not like, oh, these companies hate men or anything like that. It's just like there's more women in leadership roles in these companies. So, they are compensated higher for the role that they do, which is obviously the way it should be. So that's more of a reflection of. And let's talk for a second about the wage gap in general, because I know there are people, even people who, claim to be like on the left or good allies, they'll try to make the claim that it's not a real thing. And what they're leaning on when they say that, and feel free to correct me if I'm getting anything wrong, but what they're leaning on when they make that claim, oh, it's not a real thing, they're trying to paint the picture that what people mean when they say the pay gap is that there's literally all these employers across the country who have a little spreadsheet, and it said, if a man is offered this job, the pay is this. If a woman is offered this job, the pay is this. Now, such a thing in the most literal sense, that's not legal. So that probably doesn't exist. But here's what does exist. What does exist is there's salary ranges all over the country for all
Mhm.
kinds of jobs. And they're more likely, statistics show this, they're more likely to lowball a woman than a man. That's just statistically true. They're more likely not to be as open to negotiations. They're more likely to hope that women don't negotiate as much. So that's
And the
what the gap
promotions,
really is.
yeah, and the promotions go to men more often than women as well.
Hmm.
So there's just so many ways in which and also we have like abysmal board equity representation and equality across the country as well. I love whenever like there's a news article about like, oh, there's a woman on a corp
Oh, we lost you again. We just
happens,
lost
they get an
Lauren.
article. No.
We lost you. You're back now.
Just
We
when I'm
lost you.
talking about
We were
uh
talking about
I was
when they
just
say a woman's on the board. Uh-oh. We
oh,
lost you.
am I
Yep, you're
back?
back. You're back. You're back. You're back. So woman
Okay.
on the board.
I'm going to have a better internet connection next time I'm on. But if it's such a surprise that women are on boards that it gets an article every time, like that's not great. Can you imagine there being an article being like, there is a white man on the board of this bank? Whoa.
Surprise, surprise. At a bank, no less.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very rare for there to be a woman, let alone majority women. And then that culture trickles down the whole way through the company, of there being more male representation in management, more promotions for men, more hiring of men for management type roles. And it's just the culture starts at the top.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why the pay gap exists. So people that try to, diminish it and say, well, technically that's not it's just like, no, that's not how it works.
My
That's not how it
gosh.
happens. You're really trying to kind of oversimplify what it actually is to make the case that it doesn't exist. It does exist because when you have this type of culture and it happens over and over again, you get to the point where it's like, yeah, statistically, this is what the pay gap is.
Mm. It's also like, are these people so bored that they're like, women,
Ah, we lost you again. Lauren, come back.
like,
Lauren's internet, start working
oh
the
my
right way.
gosh. You know what? They know that I'm talking about gender equality.
Yeah, I know. They're like going after you. They're like, that's enough. We get
Blast.
it. So what were you were saying? You started on. Yeah, we lost you basically as soon as you started talking.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
You know what? They wanted me to not say what I was about to say. And also now I forget. So it worked.
Ah, well, they won this one, but we'll be back. You
Sorry
know,
for my internet, everyone.
it happens. Yeah, I'll send you the picture. This converter's gonna, yeah, you'll appreciate it. Trust me.
It'll
It's
change my life.
it'll change your life. It'll be amazing. But yeah, I got a big kick out of that. That's such a cool. I want a Twitter account that every time a politician virtue signals about a policy, it retweets them with their entire voting history. That's what I want.
I
I
love
want
it.
that. I want someone to make that.
I would like
Uh
to shake this bot's hand.
yeah, right?
Yes.
So that is funny. I appreciate that. And yeah, happy belated International Women's Day, Lauren.
Thank you. It means a lot, truly. And please stay away from rotten mussels in the future.
Yes,
Listen to Lucy.
I will. I will. Rotten Muscles would be a cool band name. But yeah, I will totally do that. I will listen. I'm not going to be in the mood for them for a little while.
I don't
It's
blame
going to be a
you.
little while before I'm going to want I mean, I think cuz the folks at the market they were like, "Ah, you can just exchange if you want." I'm like,
No.
I appreciate it. I just want my money back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good market. I've never been let down by them before, so I mean, surely I'll go back. But I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good for a little break.
Yeah, not really feeling the mussels tonight. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna be getting muscles for a hot minute. It's okay. It happens.
I love a
Someday.
bowl of steamed mussels.
I do too.
It's
Yeah.
great.
We'll reunite. It's not like I mean, this definitely isn't a permanent divorce from me and muscles. I've
Just a
only had a
break.
couple food divorces in my life. Jägermeister, Taco Bell. Those are the main ones.
Oh, I love Taco Bell, but Jägermeister, it was an immediate divorce for me.
Yeah. I never cared for it that much, but every now and again I would drink Jaeger, and one night I had a bad night, and I've never wanted to touch Jaeger again. And Taco Bell, kind of similar deal. Had a bad experience once and was like, I'm done. We're done here.
I believe that. I think once it comes out through your mouth, it doesn't go back down again.
So we got some hellos for you in the chat. Let's go to the chat real quick before I let you go, if that's cool. Roger, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much for the Rockfin tip. Also, Lauren, we started. Here, let me make sure I get to where you started. Hi, Lauren. Long time no see. Ron P, what up? I hope you've been watching Hard Lens Media every Wednesday. Kira has been going through 24 states that allows their voters to run ballot initiatives, and starting yesterday and the rest of March, Ron California's ballot initiative, since California has over 24 ballot initiatives they will they are running. Okay, cool. Question. All right, it just jumped on me. Question, Ron, will that stop viewers like myself from sharing your videos? I hope not. Yeah. Oh, are you asking about the policy? Yeah, potentially. If you're referring to the policy that we went over, yeah, that could stop people from just sharing regular videos. I mean, again, it basically allows these corporate entities to just kind of plan what they want with large social media platforms. So yeah, they could totally be like, oh, it should cost money if they want to share an independent media video because maybe that's not valid news or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it totally could. it's a scary piece of legislation that hopefully gets stopped because it's very bad. So please do sign that petition. Also, Lauren, we started a ride hailing cooperative service in New York City to go up against the corporate titans of Uber and Lyft. Come join. As of right now, we're oh man, hold on, it's jumping on
I
me.
use them. I use your co-op.
Oh, cool. There you
Mhm.
go, Roger. Lauren's already a user. She is already.
Yes.
And then they're also saying, Lauren, check out the New York Democracy Preservation Act. It prohibits companies with 1% or more stake owned by a single foreign investor or 5% owned by multiple foreign investors from making political contributions in state and local campaigns. It also prohibits such an entity from funding independent expenditures. It was passed by the New York State Senate by veto-proof majority. All right, yeah, check that out. It's the New York Democracy Preservation Act. I've not looked into that myself, but yeah, definitely worth checking out if you're
Nice.
in New York. And then Roger goes on to say this would stop all industries from donating directly and indirectly with foreign ties. This would include Wall Street, pharma, and health to campaigns. Interesting. Yeah, definitely have
Yeah.
to look into that.
I'm on
Uh,
board.
yeah, and then Robert over on the YouTube. What's up, Robert? How are you? It is awesome to see you. Um, joining the Fuse NAGESEIU union was the best decision I ever made. That's awesome, Robert. That's freaking awesome. Glad it's been awesome for you, and thank you very much for that, Roger and Robert. Thank you very much for your super chat contribution and your Rockfin tips. You help keep this show on the air. I appreciate it very, very much. Lauren, we got some shows coming up, but first, let everyone know where to see you.
Well, if you really want to, you can follow me at Vote Ashcraft. But more importantly, the show's coming up. April 16th, I'll be opening for Ron Placone in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can get tickets at ronplacone.com. Following that, I will be opening for him in New York City at ronplacone.com. You can also get tickets to that show.
That's right. Well, right on. So at Vote Ashcraft, and then is Biting Commentary going to be making a return soon, or what's the status with that?
Maybe. Yes. Maybe. Yes.
All right.
Probably.
All right. Well, keep us posted on
If
that.
Amy Klobuchar
If Amy
doesn't
Klobuchar
stop me.
hands this bill, yeah.
Yes, good
Brilliant.
question though. It's definitely gonna make a comeback. It just make it might make a comeback that looks different than it used to.
Right on. Cool. Well, thanks so much for being here. And I will see you, I guess, maybe in person before next month. I'm not sure when the second or third Thursday is, but yeah, either way,
So
I'll
cool.
be seeing you on the show and in person soon. Can't wait.
Yes, I look forward to it and I hope to see you all there. ronplacone.com.
Thank you for that. All right. Cheers, Lauren. Have a good
Bye.
weekend.
You
Peace.
too.
All right. That was Lauren Ashcraft. Follow her at Vote Ashcraft on Twitter. And I'll announce the rest of the tour dates. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Burlington, Vermont, Portland, Maine, Boston, Massachusetts, and New York City. You can get all those tickets now at romplacone.com. Also, Reykjavik, I'm doing your Fringe Festival. So I'll be in Iceland. That's at the end of June. Once I know more information on my actual shows, I'll be posting that. But Reykjavik Fringe Festival, I'm going to be part of it. Those are all the tour dates right now. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, patreon.com/romplacone for a give what you can level. You get all kinds of exclusive perks. You get videos not available anywhere else. I'll make you a theme song. I do Zoom shows. I do patron streams where I respond directly to the patrons, and the replays only available on Patreon and Rockfin Premium. You can get all that for a give what you can level. Even $1 a month goes a long way. People, they're like, Ron, I can only give $1 a month. Should I? I'm like, yes, you should, because I want to build a community. The community is very, very important. So even if $1 a month is all you can spare, that goes a long, long way. So please, if you wouldn't miss $1 a month and you want a nice, convenient place to get all my stuff and some bonus content, patreon.com/romplacone. You help keep this show on the air. This show would not exist without your support. Roger, thank you very much for your support here. I think I got all of them. Thank you very much for the Rockfin tips. You help keep this show on the air. And also, Robert, again, over on the YouTube, thank you so much for the YouTube super chat. You help keep this show on the air. Guys, we will be back next week. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow. I say, and she says stay away from bad muscles. I say peace, love, and a general strike. And sign the Fight for the Future petition because the JCPA would frickin' ruin the internet. Sign it. See you guys next week. Peace.